Well, welcome to Teliax. This is a getting started guide for using the IV portal to sell or resell voice services. We're going to be going through a little background, so some of you may have already seen some of this. It may be new to some of you. We'll get into some of the benefits of using IV, and then we'll go through the interface and show you some of the things you need to do in order to get up and running and start selling service to your customers. So if you're not familiar with Teliax, well, Teliax has been around for 10 years. We're based in Denver, a very engineering-focused company. Most of our staff is made up of development people. We're privately held. We're a Colorado CLEC, and we'll be expanding into other states this year. We're a Tier 1 peering partner, so we're paired with all the major carriers that are out there to make sure that calls go through and that we get the best pricing. And we kind of consider ourselves a carrier's carrier. There's a lot of larger SIP providers that are out there, and they're our customers. So they come to us to get their service. And as I said, we're celebrating our 10th anniversary right now, which I think is very exciting because there's not too many people in this space who have been around for 10 years. Well, what we're here to talk about is IV. And if you're wondering what IV stands for, it doesn't. It's just the organic growth and branches going into, there's some good explanation that people have tried to come up with, but IV is our platform. And at the recent IT Expo in Las Vegas, we have the Best of Show Award for Most Innovative Product. So we're very excited about that. Myself, coming from the IT world, having my own IT business and selling phone systems many years ago, if I would have had the IV product, that would have just made my business. Being able to sell SIP trunks or hosted PBX platforms for smaller customers and receive residual income off that is it's just incredible. And being able to do all of the things that you can do within the IV platform, I think really separates us from other people. There's other companies that are doing pieces and parts of this, but not everything that IV is doing today. So what exactly is the IV platform? Well, it's a user portal. Customers can go in and manage their services, add extensions, set up forwards, ring groups, voice menus. So it has a whole suite of hosted PBX features in it, as well as being able to sell SIP trunks. So from a reseller point of view, that's huge, because you may be selling customer premise phone systems. Well, now you can sell the SIP trunks, make money off those SIP trunks. But you might have been losing business on the smaller side, the 1 to 5 or even 10 seat deals, because the cost of putting in a PBX was just cost prohibitive. Well, you can just sell them hosted PBX features. You sell them a phone, sell them an extension, minutes, all those things. And we'll look at some of those things that you can do within the IV when it comes to the hosted PBX. So it allows you to manage your customers, and it's a complete invoicing and billing system. So you don't have to take care of anything. You can just let the system run and get a check every month. It is completely brandable and white label, so you can put your own images in, customize it however you want, and pretty much remove any trace that it's coming from Teliax. It even runs on your own domain. So customers see that it's from you, it's all within your platform, it looks like your website, it's got your name on it, and they get a generic bill. It doesn't say Teliax, it comes from Telephony Solutions, so it completely locks that customer to you instead of having kind of a backdoor to us. So I think from a stickiness point of view, that's really huge to keep those customers going to you. So when we look at who IV is for, it's for both end users and partners. End users can manage their account, they can order DIDs, and they can manage their PBX features. Certainly what we've seen are the partners who are putting end users on the platform, they're not giving that access to the end users. Now you certainly can. You can give them a login and password and they can manage all their own stuff, but from a partner point of view, it makes much more sense for you to manage those customers, for you to set up the trunks, for you to configure the hosted PBX systems, and then let us bill the customers for you. Now, the reason for that is money. If you let your end users do that, then there's nothing for you to charge for besides the service. If you're managing that customer and you're doing all those adds, moves, and changes, well, then you can charge for that. You can charge for adds, moves, and changes. Maybe you can just sell a support contract that includes a couple hours a month of service. So again, keeping that customer sticky and committed to you is very big. So again, this is really partner focused. You can manage your customers. You can even give them a 24-hour grace period on their bill if they're running behind and they need to move some money around. The invoice and billing is very important, and also you can set the pricing. We show you the cost of the service, you mark it up, and then that's how we both make money. We split that profit, so if you have a high volume customer or a large enterprise customer, you can give them a lower price. You got some guy with 1 or 2 extensions who's hardly going to do any minutes, you can give them a higher price. And the price minus the cost, we split that because we're giving you this platform at no cost. Again, completely brandable. I'll show you some of that. And the custom bundled plans is very unique in that you can take different services that we offer, bundle them into a single monthly plan. So let's say you wanted to create a 5-seat unlimited calling plan that has 3 menus and 5 devices, and you can charge $149 a month flat rate for that. Those are things that you can do within the IV platform to create completely customized plans for your customers. So the whole benefit here is empowering you to do business the way you want, to sell how you want, and know your market. What are your customers looking for? It may be different in California than it is in New York, and being able to customize these plans and packages and prices allows you to be competitive in your market. The platform itself is kind of divided into some different sections, and you can have multiple customers with completely different sets of features. So as you have a partner, you can have a customer A who has a SIP trunk going to their customer premise system. Customer B has extensions and just voicemail. Customer C may have a whole lot of other features in that. And in between that, we have our branding engine, the billing engine, and complete fraud protection. So at other service providers, you may just enable international, and any international calls will go out. With Ivy, you have to specifically put in the country codes that are allowed to be called. This helps keep fraud down dramatically. Also, any device that's connected via phone or a PBX needs to have the IP address listed so that only that device can connect to the system. Again, another level of fraud protection to keep unauthorized users out, keep hackers out, keep your account from being compromised and racking up tons of additional phone bills that nobody wants to have. So the fraud protection is a really big key component of what we do. What are some of the things you can do within Ivy in terms of the hosted PBX? Well, you have phone numbers. Those can go to schedules like day IVR or night IVR, or setting up holiday messages for Christmas or New Year's, 4th of July, and have those all pre-programmed and set up so you don't have to worry about them. You have the IVR menus that can go to ring groups, that can go to devices, and then voicemail. We also have forwarding, so you can have a call forwarded to like a cell phone, and if it doesn't answer, then it can come back to the system and go into voicemail. So you can create some basic types of find me, follow me rules by using some of the features that we have. And again, we'll look at the features here in just a moment. We are going through certification with a number of different partners. Grandstream and Yealink phones, as well as SNOM phones, have all been certified. CyberData, paging and intercom devices, and the 3CX Windows-based IP PBX. We have tons more on the books that we're working on right now to make sure that any product that you have that is based on open standards will be certified with the IV platform. Cyber data, I'll just take one moment. If you're not familiar with cyber data and their paging and intercom devices, in a traditional phone setup, upwards of 25% of the endpoints are going to consist of some type of paging or intercom device, whether it's overhead speakers, bullhorns in a warehouse, or out in a automobile dealership may have bullhorns out in the lot to page the different salespeople that are out there. You have visual alerts for noisy areas, so you can see that a phone is ringing. You have keypads for entry into doors. Those products are all supported within the IV platform, and we have a configuration guide on how to use their paging server so that you only set up a single endpoint within IV and be able to page up to 99 zones. So I just wanted to touch on that because it's different than most of the other products that are out there. And if you're not selling paging and intercom devices, you're really leaving money on the table. So that's my little spiel for that. And we'll jump into our little live demo here so we can show what we're capable of doing with IV. And I'm going to go ahead and log in here. We'll get it set up. So this is a partner account. When you first log in, you just see the dashboard, which isn't much of a dashboard yet. Eventually, there'll be more and more features added to this dashboard. You can go into your account and go to web settings. And this is some of the first things you're going to want to do if you're planning on doing branding. You've already set up the DNS name, or if you haven't yet, then you're not completely signed up, but you'll take your domain or a subdomain and point it to us. This is all explained in the Partner Quick Start Guide that you should have received already. And so your phones, your devices are all going to register to that instead of to Teliax. If you have customers that you're allowing in, they're going to go to that DNS as well instead of going to iv.teliax.com. We can also do some style sheet work. We can set background colors, nav bars, background images, logo images. There's some advanced attributes for going in and changing the colors. Or you can really get crazy and completely change all of the CSS that's in there if you want to make it absolutely identical to your website. So I'm going to bounce over here a little bit. Let me close some of these other tabs here. And this is just a quick one that I was playing around with. So you can have a custom background, a logo, change some of the colors, and when they're logged in, they can have this cool background. I'm in the middle of changing this right now, so I can change these colors that are in the menus so that they're more easily seen on this particular background. I can add my logo, and you see there's really no Teliax anywhere. There's not even a powered by Teliax somewhere. So it's certainly designed to look like your own website. And down here in this uploaded content area, we have this index.html, and that is, let me show you that. That is this page that you see here when they first go to the site. So you can definitely modify this and do whatever you'd like with it, because all the HTML is right in this particular file. You can add CSS into it, do whatever you want. I've just pointed to Teliax, and I've added a little banner that points to a website somewhere, and text. If you have someone that's doing your website, they can really make this pretty much whatever they want because it's full HTML. So that's kind of the branding engine that you see there. Next, I'm going to skip billing because this is under construction right now. We're going to be adding the ability for partners to do billing and handle some of the billing stuff themselves. These are all stubs that are in there right now, so you can see what's coming, but it's not quite there yet on the partner side. Go to the price decks, and this is where you do that markup for those different features. Now, there's a lot of things in here right now, and in the next version that we push out, this is actually going to be scaled down quite a bit because most of the things for inbound and outbound are the same, and so we're just going to kind of bundle things together, make it a little easier for people to understand, change some of the names. But you can go through here and you can see emergency calls, international calls, interstate calls, local calls, different Zone 1 calls, channels, conference rooms, devices, E911, and what you're seeing is the price. This is the cost of providing a service. And some things have no price, they're zero, because there's no cost to those. But you could, if you wanted, you could mark that up. You could make it $2 per extension. You could make it $1.50 for a fax machine instead of 50 cents. So you have the ability to mark these things up any way you like. You might do a little research in your area, see what things are going for. But let's say a local inbound call, 0.0075 cents, well, it may be 2 cents a minute in your area. So you can mark that up significantly and make some decent profit on those. Now here at the top, we have the plans. And you can have multiple plans. I'll just edit this one real quick so you can kind of see how these plans come together. So I've added 911, internal inbound. I can add an included package here, like a menu, I can make it unlimited, or I can say, well, I'm going to give them 3 menu options on this plan. And as I keep adding these things together, then once I'm finished, I can go to finalize. And what it's going to do here is it's going to tell me kind of what is included, what the cost is of that. So at this point, my cost is $1.75. I haven't added a whole lot to this. Then you can go and mark it up and say, well, this is a $49.95 plan, and create these custom packages like that, knowing what your cost is going to be. Down below, I don't have any channels on that one, of course. So you can create all these different packages customized for different size customers, you know, a 5-seat plan, a 10-seat plan, or not even bother and just have them go off the regular price deck. And you can have multiple price decks. You might have larger enterprise customers that are doing good volume. You can charge them less. Smaller packages, you might want to raise the price because you're not going to get much profit off of them. So there are a number of different things you can do to customize these plans for your customers. Speaking of customers, we'll go to customers. I've got a customer in here. I can see that international is not enabled. I can see the price deck that I'm using, their current balance, and see this customer is delinquent right now. Well, in 30 minutes, it's going to disconnect that customer. They're not going to be able to make or receive phone calls. But as the partner, I have a little bit of control, and I can just say, you know what, I'm going to click on that, and it's going to put them into credit mode. Now, that's going to end in 24 hours. So it's going to continue to bill, and it's going to go more into the negative, but now that customer has 24 hours to fix their credit card information and get a payment set up. Now, at this point, I'm kind of done. All right, I'll show you what a customer looks like. It's just a name, price deck, active, international, and when we create a new one, we put in some contact information if we want the customer to have access. Now I can just go to support login, and now I'm going to log in as that customer. Now, as that customer, there's not a lot I can do under account. I can have some multiple users in there. I can go to my billing. I see my recent activity. I can make payments. So I would have to add a credit card, and that's the first thing that they're going to need to do is add a credit card. Now you can have their credit card and put it in here for them so that they've never had access to the system, which again, that's what most of the partners are doing today. You can see your past statements, export them, see them as an image, but you must have a payment in there for anything to work. They can manage their plans. They can pick out the different packages that you have. Again, maybe not something you want them to have access to, but they can. They can see their rates. Now we get down to actually building the platform for them. We have what's called sites. And sites are generally a group of features for a geographical area, or maybe even a department. So maybe you have a New York office, an LA office. You might have those set up as different sites. or you can actually combine them and just put them all into one site. It's really up to you, but we give that ability. And when we add a site, we can set the default caller ID name, default caller ID number, the DNS extension, so that might actually be their customer name. So that could be, acmewidgets.voice.t2id.com. This thin client, this should not be touched. It should always be set on Denver for right now. What this is this is what we call bonsai nodes. And this is going to allow us to distribute the RTP traffic or the actual voice traffic across geographic locations. In larger enterprise environments, we can actually put a node directly into that customer's office so that all that call traffic, all the voice traffic isn't always going out over the internet. If they're doing a lot of inter-office calls, extension-to-extension calls, that can be a big savings by putting, or bandwidth savings by putting a node into their office. You can select the music on hold, but why anyone would want to change this fantastic music would just be beyond me. But of course, you can always upload new music. Then when you get into the access control list, by default, nothing is allowed. No one is going to have access. No IP is going to have access. You're going to have to put in the public IP address of the site and where it's at, or at least the primary device that's being used. Channel limit, again, set to 0. So these are safety precautions for getting a site set up initially. So how many channels do you want someone to have? 4, 10, whatever. And then the permitted country codes. So fortunately, this is just a pop-down menu here, so I can just decide where I want people to be able to call. So of course, I call the United States and Zimbabwe all the time. So I'm going to put that in there. And then that's how I'm going to create a new site. I'll go back to the site that I already have here, because this is all kind of set up already. You can see I've got my access control list, I have my permitted country codes, I've got my channel limit, and my DNS extension. So here I've got some of the features already set up. I've got a conference room, 2 devices, 2 extensions, a forward to a voicemail, or a forward to a cell phone, a menu, some phone numbers that have been ordered, ring groups, schedules, voicemail boxes. To add new features, you just come up to the top to this plus menu, and here's your different features. Conference room, device, E911, extensions, fax machine. Fax machine is inbound fax to email. It's not outbound fax. It's just for inbound faxes. The forwards, the menus, PBX, that's if I'm going to set up a SIP trunk. The rest of these features are hosted PBX features. PBX is where you would configure a SIP trunk. Ordering phone numbers, ring group, schedule, voicemail box. So you generally need to start with a phone number, and we can just start typing in here, and we'll do a search on Denver, and it'll show me available DIDs that are in that area. I can just select one, hit enter to order it. So instant provisioning of the phone numbers. There's no long waiting times trying to get those up and running. And so these different features give you basically building blocks in order to get the types of features you want up and running. You can have something fail over to something else that can maybe fail over to something else, but we'll take just a kind of a quick walkthrough. We have this phone number that goes to the main menu. From the main menu, we'll bring up the menu here. So this main menu has a PIN number, so if I get to that menu, I can type in the PIN number to record a greeting, or I can upload a greeting. I have different options here. Press 0 to go to Bob's phone, press 1 to go to the sales ring group, press 2 to go to Joe's desk phone, or I can have it go to a schedule or any other valid destination. So once we go to that ring group, take a look at the ring group here. Got our sales ring group. So sales, it's got a timeout of 30 seconds. it'll go to Joe's desk phone and Bob's desk phone, and if neither of them answer within the timeout period, it will fail over to Joe's voicemail box. So you can see the system is pretty straightforward in how it works. It's not overly complicated by any means. Again, we'll take a look at a forward here. So I have Joe's cell phone, a timeout of 30 seconds, a phone number, and if it fails, then go to Joe's voicemail box. Now, if you're setting up a forward to a cell phone, you might have to experiment with that timeout, because if it's too long, the voicemail from that cell phone is actually going to pick up. So you want that to be shorter than the time it takes for their cell phone's voicemail, to make sure that the voicemail comes back into the system. So by putting some of these features together, we can have a call come in, ring a phone. If it doesn't answer that phone, then try his cell phone. If it doesn't answer the cell phone, then go to voicemail. So we can set up different ways of doing like find me, follow me type features. We actually have an article on our blog with 3 different ways of setting up find me, follow me. So once you learn the system and you see how the different features interact with each other, you can start coming up with some really interesting ways of creating call flows that are going to really work for your customers' needs. We got some questions here. Will it email the bill to the customer? Yes, it sends the bill to the customer, lets them know that it's time to pay. You can also set up the payments here. I'll set this up here. I have a new credit card. Again, we'll show you, we can have multiple credit cards in here. So if one doesn't go through, it will roll over to a second card, and it can try multiple cards to make sure that a payment gets processed properly. You said the IP of the phone or the Mac, the screen was all black. What do you, Larry, you want to ask me that question so I know what you're talking about there?
It indicated that you needed to register the IP of the telephone for the system to recognize the actual internet. But when you plug in to your system or to your internet connection, the IP is continually changing. So for it to authenticate, wouldn't it be more looking for the MAC of the phone?
No, it doesn't. We look at the IP because we don't have the individual types of phones available yet. That's something that will be coming next year, and we'll actually be able to do phone provisioning through that. So today, we have the access control list, which is locked down to IPs. It can be locked down to a range of IPs, or it actually can be open to the entire internet. So if you are, whether you're on device, site, or PBX, those are the different things that require access control lists. We go to the help menu, and it will help explain how the range system works for the IP addresses. So if it's a /32, it's a single IP. You can have a complete subdomain, or you can just do all zeros /0, which would allow the entire internet. Some people who have, if you have static IPs, great. You're just going to put that in, never have a problem. Some people have IP addresses that change once in a while. You know, it's best to put in a specific IP address or maybe an IP range if you know what range they're in when it changes, or if there's just no way to control it and their IPs change on a regular basis, you might have to allow the entire internet to make sure that that works. But again, it's a trade-off between functionality and security.
I travel. I go to different hotels in different cities, and I'm using a Grandstream Wi-Fi phone. I know you're familiar with the phone. I'm Wi-Fi into the hotel's Wi-Fi and accessing my system, my current system. Now, am I going to have to get the IP address of the hotel and basically authorize that through IV for the equipment to operate?
Only if you wanted to maintain the highest level of security. For people who are traveling and they're on soft phones or Wi-Fi phones like that, then I'm not going to say the best thing to do, but the easiest thing to do would be to use 0000/0, which will allow any IP on the internet to connect. So if you're going to do that, then make sure that you have a complicated login and a complicated password to help mitigate any fraudulent use.
Okay.
Does that answer the question good? Okay. Are there any other questions on the platform or what you need to get started or anything else that we can help you with before I kind of get into the roadmap and some of the partner things that we're working on?
I had a question as far as setting up the top of the, let me click on it on my end. All right, I'm logged into my Ivy partner platform.
Okay.
At the top, it's got the Teliax logo on the left-hand side.
Yep.
When you rebrand this, are you putting a big banner type thing across the top? Or is the only thing that you can change is possibly get maybe a little JPEG image that would go where the Teliax image is at?
Okay, so I will actually work my way back to there. All right, when I'm logged into the web settings here, or my account, I go to web settings. There's 3 different sections that you kind of want to edit. I'm actually start at the bottom and kind of go backwards here. So the index.html doesn't really have anything that you're uploading or linking to. This is just HTML code. So if I want to put in a graphic in here, then I'm actually going to have that hosted somewhere. There's no ability to upload an image to have that work. Actually, I'm in the wrong account. That's why that's not working right. So I'll go into my account here, and if you remember, like this screen here, that's the index.html. So I can start there, and you can see where I've linked to an offsite background image, and then down here, that banner, that image that's at the top, I've just linked to that as well within this HTML. So that's where I edit the very first page that they see. And once they click on, go ahead.
There's nothing really that's uploadable, right?
Correct. Right. For today, you need to have the images hosted somewhere. So the first page, again, this is the index.html. Then once they click on Get Started, now this stuff is all controlled by the domain style sheet. So we'll take a look at that again here. So I have a background image, which is that carbon fiber background. So I've linked to that. And I have my logo, which is going to replace the Teliax logo. So I generally recommend doing that as a transparent transparent PNG file, so that anytime that you change that nav bar color, it will be reflected behind that logo. And you can have a statement image, which most people don't use, but it's just something else that you can add. And again, going into the advanced attributes, you can change more of the color. In that, I like using the custom CSS, and you can see I can just change the background images. I can do all kinds of stuff in here. Every possible color, the fonts, absolutely everything can be done using the CSS. But the background is going to be the background image that we see here. And the logo that we link to here will replace the Teliax logo, as you can see here.
Okay, now that's hosted elsewhere, or that's uploaded?
Yeah, no, those 2 graphics you need to have hosted somewhere.
Okay.
Does that answer the question? Okay. Well, if you think of any other questions, we'll go ahead and get to them in a little bit. Just a couple other things I want to talk about here while we're kind of going along. Some of the stuff that we have coming. It's always good to know that we're continuing development on things, and we certainly are. We have some new partner reports that are coming out soon. partner billing so that we can bill you and you can bill the customer if that's the way you want to do things. Some additional feature enhancements of some of the existing features that are in there, some upgrades to the way the menus work, and voicemail, and a couple other features are getting some enhancements. We'll be adding call queues. That's probably the top requested feature right now. Stored voicemail. Well, today, voicemail is just sent as a WAV file to the user's email box. So you get the voicemail in your inbox, and you can listen to it there. The next major version, the voicemail will be stored on the system, so you can dial in and listen to it like you could anywhere else. And those bonsai nodes that I talked about, we haven't deployed remote bonsai nodes yet, but that actually is probably going to be finished here in the next few days, and we'll be able to do things with that. So we're always going to be working on stuff. Our roadmap is huge. It's pages and pages long, and we're always looking to prioritize the things based on our partners' needs and requirements. So if you have something that you think is really important, that would really help you close business, be sure and let us know so that we can adjust the priority on it and make sure that we're getting the features pushed out there that the partners really need. Now, if you haven't already been set up as a partner, it's very simple. Go to Teliax.com, use the form at the bottom of the page. We'll contact you, get you set up, show you how to set up the host name, send you some quick start guides. And we also have material that you can use for your own marketing purposes. We have a customer quick start guide. Now, you may just need that to learn all the different features, but it doesn't say Teliax on it anywhere. You can just give that directly to a customer and let them learn how to manage their own services. Again, as a partner, I recommend you maintain that so that you're charging for ads, moves, and changes, are putting together support deals and things like that. Now, we are going to be working on a certified partner program. We have training videos that we're working on. There'll be a test, and those certified partners will get leads from us. They'll get listed on our website. The goal is that Teliax doesn't want to deal with end users. We want to deal with partners. It's much better for us to help partners to grow their business and be successful than it is for us to try and deal with end users. We would much rather have a higher level support to our partners and make sure that they're building their businesses and that we're doing everything in our power to help them grow so that we're all successful. And that's why the platform's free. We're providing these tools. We're going to provide sales slicks. We're going to provide other marketing tools for partners to use to be able to go out and sell effectively. We also have videos and webinars coming up on how to sell, how to be successful in selling voice services. So again, we're trying to invest in our partner success, and in turn, we help you build your business and we give you leads and things like that. So we are wanting to work very closely with our partners to make sure that we're vested in their success. So I'll just leave a moment here. If there was any other questions, we can take those now. There was a question about inbound fax and the price on that, and it's basically billed on a per minute charge, so that there's the monthly recurring fee for the phone number and the platform, and then faxes are billed on a per minute basis. So it's actually the same price as an inbound call. It's very inexpensive. Typical faxes are only a few seconds long, so the charges on inbound faxes are very, very low.
Is there a decision coming up, Terry, that we can use the IV system to actually sell services to our customers, where they log into something, in other words, where they could buy a voicemail, buy a forwarded DID, where they get an option as far as what number they're buying, what city?
Well, if you've given them the access to their customer portal, they can do all that today.
I'm talking new customers.
Okay, so what we're talking about is like online signups.
Correct.
Right. So online signups is our next major feature that's coming out. So that, I mean, we're a few months away, but that is one of our top priority features, is to implement online signups. We will have it for IV, so resellers can sign up, and we'll have it for customers so that when they go to your site, you'll have some embed code that will allow them to sign up for your service through us, or our service through you, I guess would be the right way to put that. So you'll be able to embed some sign-up code onto your website so they can just log in, put in a credit card, and be up and running with no intervention from you. Early next year, we'll also be adding the feature to order devices. So we'll have a selection of endpoints, phones, ATAs, or things that when they order an extension, they'll have the option of, would you like to buy a phone for that? And if they select a phone, it'll give them a menu of different phone options that are available. Once they select that, it's automatically provisioned and sent out to them, just drop shipped, and they plug it in and it just works. So the goal is by middle of next year, the system will be completely automated in terms of signups and phone delivery, and you will basically have to do almost nothing. So there's some good stuff coming in that regard.
Question. What are you finding is plug and play right out of the box? I mean, a lot of things I hook up, I've got to tweak them before I take them out to my customer's location. So you're saying that you have something set up that the phone will be pre-programmed, and technically when UPS, FedEx, or whoever delivers it, the end user just hooks it into their internet connection. It should just work?
That's correct.
Okay.
So basically what we're doing is once someone orders a phone, we'll be taking the phone information and all their credential information that they've created, creating a provisioning file which gets loaded onto the phone before it gets shipped. So it's really going to be seamless. And should there be a factory reset on that phone, it'll know where to go to grab that configuration file again and reset itself.
Okay.
So we really want to take that load off of the partners. Now, sure, you could go to a distributor and you can order phones, and you're going to probably get them at a better price than I can offer them, and you can provision them yourself and everything else, and that's great. But then you're going to be charging more because you're going to be making more. So we're going to have the feature in there to make it easy, but there's always going to be an associated cost because we have to pay someone to do provisioning and do the shipping. So it's about empowering the resellers to do things how they want. If you don't want to sell the phones through us, great, sell them yourself. Doesn't matter to me. We just want to give you the tools to do things the way you want to do them and what makes best sense for you.
I think great service, but I'm apprehensive if it's going to work right out of the box. I've used two chip phones where we got them all hooked up and ready to go, and there was issues. We had to go in and start changing the settings. You're talking about sending something out to somebody. Yeah, it should work, but there's so many variables. How can you guarantee that?
Well, and that's part of the certification program with the phone manufacturers, is working closely with them to make sure that these processes work right. I wouldn't be comfortable just adding another phone to our mix without having the manufacturer themselves say, yes, we've tested it, yes, it works, and most importantly, yes, we'll support it on the IV platform. So
okay.
That's the purpose of all these certifications, is once a phone is certified, that manufacturer says that they're going to stand behind our product and make sure that things work, and they'll be working closely with us on these provisioning systems to make sure that things go as smoothly as possible.
Okay.
So hopefully everything goes smooth. So we'll see how it goes for sure. So you can always learn more about Teliax at Teliax.com. If you're into Twitter, we're on Twitter. If you're into Facebook, we're on Facebook. If you just want to look at the videos, they're on youtube.com/user/TeliaxVoIP, and you can always reach us at sales@Teliax.com. We try and make ourselves as available as possible. We have lots of videos that we've already done with more coming out, showing you all the different features, how to use the features, how to sell things, the configuration guides for different platforms. So we're making sure that we have the resources there to help you understand the product, take advantage of its features and be as prepared as possible when you're going out and selling to your customers. So everybody, I want to thanks for joining. I really appreciate it. Thanks, Larry, for all the fantastic questions. Always appreciated. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to contact us. And we look forward to spending more time with the partners and helping you grow your business. So always check at Teliax.com. Make sure that you're up to speed on our different webinars that are coming out, the different training programs we do. We're going to be doing what we call power lunches with some of the distributors to show how our products interact with other products. But we're really trying to make a huge effort in educating our partners to be as successful as possible. So again, thank you very much, and we'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.